Well, hello, all of my students. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome to another episode of Improved English. My name is Jay, and I am so glad that you are taking time to spend with me on today's podcast. Wherever you may be, driving, taking a walk, riding a bike, on a canoe, in a space rocket, wherever you may be. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Now, if this is your first time watching the podcast or listening to the podcast, be sure to check out some of my playlists down in the description of today's episode. You will find a number of podcast links and other links that you can study. I better take that back. This is the only podcast that I do, but you will find a number of other links that you can study and watch, as well as engage with me. I have one there called Parlay with Jay, where I try to do a daily video where I just have a conversation with you about random topics. And so it's pretty laid back. If I can't get to it every day, I try to do it at least 2 to 3 times a week. So you can check that out. I have my other stories. I have phrases and idioms, so many different lessons to help you to strengthen your English. Now, as far as today's episode, I have some words of the week that we're going to look at. I want you to study and practice using them. And I almost did not do a story for today's episode, but it has been said that you guys enjoy my stories. So I was going to do today's episode without a story. Then at the last minute, I put one together, and I did it because you guys say you enjoy reading my stories so much. So I did put a story in today's episode. I did put a quiz with it so you can strengthen your comprehension. So make sure you hang around for that. But as far as me personally, before we get into today's lesson, like I said, I had a long week. A lot was going on in my life, but I was thankful that I was still able to do lessons here on the channel to help you with your English. This is week 2 of the podcast here in my new setup, as you can see. And I have a window here to my right that I can look right outside. I have the window open. I can hear the birds chirping, the wind is blowing, and so sometimes I am distracted as I keep looking out of the window. I thought about turning my table towards the window, but then my eyes would always look out the window instead of talking to you guys. But nevertheless, let's start with this week's words of the week. I have about 3 or 4 words that I want to teach you about, and I want you to practice them. So the first one this week that I want you to practice using is adaptable. Adaptable. Able to adjust to new conditions. Okay, she is adaptable and can work well in diverse environments. Adaptable. Okay, it's good to be a person that can adapt. So, for instance, you might say some teenagers are not able to adapt without their phone. They are not very adaptable if they do not have a smartphone, okay? They're not able to adjust. Have you ever noticed that some young people just cannot do without a cell phone? It's like they can't function. They lose their mind. Are you the same way? Do you have to have your cell phone in your hand? Or are you adaptable? You can put the phone down without messing with it for 1 hour. I don't think I can go an hour. Well, I can, but I normally don't. But I think I could go an hour without using my phone in my hand. Initiative, or initiative, or some people say initiative. Either way would be fine. The ability to act and make decisions without the help or advice of others. She showed great initiative by taking on additional responsibilities. Initiative. Okay, I'm not trying to be negative concerning young people in this generation, but I bumped into a lot of young people that lack initiative. Not all, but some want you to hold their hand all the time. But I was raised that you need to take the initiative to be productive in life. I can remember when I was younger that my mother wanted me to be a young man that had initiative. And one way she would train me is when she would buy things at the store, the department store from shopping, she would give me the receipt and have me go into the store and return it. And I would tell her, I'm like, Mom, I didn't buy it. I don't wear this. And she would say, well, look, you need to have initiative. You need to know how to go and talk to people, solve problems, and deal with situations. So she would sit in the car and send me into the shopping mall to return her clothes with the receipt. And whatever problems that I encountered, I had to take the initiative to solve them myself. Now, a person that lacks initiative, we would call that type person passive. Okay. They just are nonchalant. They don't care. It's whatever. Okay. The toilet's leaking. They have no initiative to get it fixed. Or there's no food in the cupboard or the refrigerator. Or as my mother would say, there's food in there. You just have to take the initiative to go and prepare a meal. Okay. Another word you can practice and use this week, punctual. Punctual. Always on time. Being punctual is essential for success. Punctual. Now, when I was younger, I was not very punctual. Okay, I was conscious of being on time, but sometimes I was just a little bit late. But now I strive to be punctual. I was talking to one student this week, and I was asking them, is being punctual on time, or does it matter to be punctual to them? Because I was always taught that if you're on time, you're late. And my student looked at me like, what do you mean? Yeah, I was always told that if you're there on time, you're late. So if an event starts at 3 p.m. and you show up at 3 p.m., you're late. That's how I was taught. I was taught that to be punctual means if the event begins at 3 p.m., you should be there at 2:50 or 2:55 or a few minutes before 3 p.m. Now you're punctual. Instead of trying to be there exactly at 3 p.m., you want to be punctual. Resourceful. Okay, resourceful. Skilled at finding ways to deal with new or difficult situations. Resourceful. She is resourceful and can solve problems effectively. Okay, so when a person is resourceful, it's almost as if they don't take no for an answer. They're going to find a way to solve a problem or to get something done. Resourceful. Okay. Let's look at a couple of more. Team player. Team player. Someone who works well with others to achieve a common goal. A team player. Okay. John is a team player, you might say, and always supports his colleagues. So a team player works well with other people. Okay. And let's look at one or two more. Reliable. Reliable. Able to be trusted or to to do or provide what is needed. So we would say if you're reliable, people can count on you. Being reliable is a key trait employers look for in candidates. So if you went for a job interview and they said, tell me about yourself, you could describe to them that you are a reliable person. Or they might say, how would you describe your character? You might say, you know what? I am a reliable person. I can be trusted. Or you might say, I am a team player. Okay, I work well with others. Or you might say, I am resourceful. Okay, I find ways to solve problems. So these are some great words that you can use on an interview. Okay, final word for the week, organized. Organized, having things arranged in systematic order. She is highly organized and can manage tasks efficiently. Are you organized? Okay, is your bedroom, your office, your car, is it organized or is it junky? Okay, so someone who is not organized, we would describe them as being junky. Someone who likes to hoard things or hold on to things, we call them a pack rat. They never get rid of them. They are a pack rat. Okay, my father-in-law, he was organized, but he was a pack rat. Okay. He had papers from 15 years ago. Okay. He played the lottery and he had tickets. When he died, we went through his things to clean out. He had drawer full of tickets that he played from the lottery. We're like, throw them away. You didn't win. And they were stacks and stacks from years ago. A pack rat. So these are a few words that I want you to go back and study. If you were writing or taking notes, write those down and practice using them throughout the week. Let me see if I can remember. Organized, reliable, team player, resourceful, or punctual. I'm getting a phone call from my wife. Hold on for a second. Hello? Hey. Okay, that was my wife, and she is headed to her mother's, and she was asking me, did I want something to eat? So, yes, bring me some food. Thank you so much. All right, let's get into today's story. I am so sorry for the interruption. I have tried to ask my wife, does she want to be on an episode? And she emphatically tells me no. Okay. She tells me, no, 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 I do not want to be on camera. So we'll leave her alone. So let's get into today's story. Reggie had heard about a hidden gem, a hole in the wall restaurant tucked away in a rundown shopping center on the outskirts of town. Let's read that again. Reggie had heard about a hidden gem, a hole in the wall restaurant tucked away in a rundown shopping center on the outskirts of town. Okay, a hidden gem. So a hidden gem is something that is valuable that most people don't know about. So you could have a restaurant like Reggie that many people don't know about, and you call it a hidden gem. Or it could be somewhere that you shop and you get a lot of deals. It's called a hidden gem, or we call that a hidden gem. Now notice, Reggie found a hole in the wall restaurant. A hole in the wall restaurant. What is a hole in the wall? Now, naturally speaking, a hole in the wall, if I took a hammer and hit it against the wall, it would make a hole in the wall. But a hole in the wall restaurant is a way that we describe a restaurant that is not very nice. Okay. It may be old. Okay. It's clean. You can go eat there, but it's not very modern. It may be in the bad side of town, so to speak, as they call it, the rough side of town. Okay. Now, when it comes to going out to eat to restaurants, I like hole in the walls because there are some restaurants that are hidden gems. Many people don't know about them, but they have some good food. Oh, and we call them hole in the walls. Okay. So someone may say, where did you go eat last weekend? And you may say, man, we found this restaurant. It was a hole in the wall, but the food was excellent. Okay. So they may have sold barbecue. They may have fried fish or some other type meal. You could actually do a Google search for hole in the wall restaurants. They actually have Facebook pages dedicated to hole in the wall restaurants that are hidden gems. They do. Trust me, they do. Now, on the outskirts of town, notice Reggie went to this restaurant and it was on the outskirts. Okay, so it wasn't downtown. It was way out from the metropolitan area. So if you lived in the city, maybe you had to drive an extra 30 minutes. Okay, it was on the outskirts of town, outskirts. Curiosity piqued. He decided to venture into the unassuming establishment. Curiosity piqued. So he wondered, I wonder what this restaurant is like. You know, I've heard good things about it. His curiosity was piqued. He was interested. And he decided to venture or go into the unassuming establishment. So in other words, he didn't know what he was going to get. He just said, you know what, let's go in here. I don't know what's going to happen. As he entered, a wave of savory aromas, so the food was smelling good, enveloped him or surrounded him, teasing his senses and drawing him further in. So imagine going to a restaurant for the first time and you open the door and that aroma just boom hits you in the face and you're like, ooh, that smells delicious. So savory aromas surrounded him or enveloped him. He's making me hungry. The interior, though modest, exuded a cozy charm with mismatched chairs and vintage posters adorning the walls. Okay. So, though modest, it exudes a cozy charm. Okay. So, that simply means, it's a little outdated, but it's comfortable. Okay. You go into the restaurant and you say, this place is old, but I feel safe. Okay. It's cozy. Okay. I think I'll be all right. Mismatched chairs. So one chair was probably red, one chair was probably yellow. The chairs did not match. Now, something that is vintage. Notice vintage posters. Okay. So something from the 1950s or the 1980s. Nowadays, that would be considered vintage. The menu, handwritten with care, featured a plethora of delectable dishes, each with a unique twist. Okay? The menu, handwritten with care. So it wasn't typed. It wasn't on a QR code. It was handwritten. Featured a plethora of delectable dishes. Okay, a plethora. So a variety. Okay, they had a plethora of choices when it came to seafood. A plethora. So a lot of different alternatives. Despite the humble surroundings, the place buzzed with chatter, laughter, and the clinking of cutlery. So, despite the humble surroundings, the place buzzed with chatter. People were talking, laughter, and clinking of cutlery. So, you could hear the dishes from the kitchen. Okay. Now, when you go to a restaurant, do you like to sit near the kitchen, near the front door? Does it bother you if you sit near the bathroom? Some people don't like to. I don't like to sit near the restroom. And one place when we go to the restaurant, we have to be observant is sitting right up under a vent where the air is blowing right on my head. Okay, so I don't mind sitting at the bar. Where do you like to sit when you go to a restaurant? Or where do you dislike to sit? Reggie took a seat and eagerly awaited his order, his anticipation growing with each passing moment. So Reggie would be described as hungry, looking forward to the meal because he could smell the good food. He saw people laughing, enjoying themselves. So in his mind, he was like, this must be a good place to get a meal, okay? Because everyone is enjoying themselves. When the food arrived, it surpassed all expectations, bursting with flavor and leaving him utterly satisfied. Wow. Notice it surpassed all expectation. So it was more than what he thought it would be. Okay. he didn't know what to expect, but it blew all of his expectation. He was like, wow, this place doesn't look nice. It's modest, but the food is really good. Okay. As he left the unassuming restaurant, a newfound appreciation for hidden treasures in unexpected places filled his heart. So he learned from his experience, as we say, don't judge a book by its cover. Oftentimes we use that phrase when we meet someone or we see someone and we look at them on the outside without really knowing them. We judge a book by its cover, but sometimes you can apply that to a restaurant. You may say, it doesn't look like much on the outside, but the food is excellent. So that is a story about a hole-in-the-wall restaurant. Now, we're getting ready to read it at a faster pace. And as I said at the beginning, when I travel, I look for local hole-in-the-wall restaurants because from my experience, they may not have the money to fix up the place, but they've got some great cooks. Okay. So let's read about Reggie again at a faster pace. Reggie had heard about a hidden gem, a hole-in-the-wall restaurant tucked away in a rundown shopping center on the outskirts of town. Curiosity piqued. He decided to venture into the unassuming establishment. As he entered, a wave of savory aromas enveloped him, teasing his senses and drawing him further in. The interior, though modest, exuded a cozy charm with mismatched chairs and vintage posters adorning the walls. The menu, handwritten with care, featured a plethora of delectable dishes, each with a unique twist. Despite the humble surroundings, the place buzzed with chatter, laughter, and the clinking of cluttery. Reggie took a seat and eagerly awaited his order, his anticipation growing with each passing moment. When the food arrived, it surpassed all expectations, bursting with flavor and leaving him utterly satisfied. As he left the unassuming restaurant, a newfound appreciation for hidden treasures in unexpected places filled his heart. So, you know what I meant to do? I meant to put my Instagram tag here on the screen, and I'll try to do that next time. And on my Instagram page, I will start sharing some restaurants and places that I go and things that I see. And I'll talk about them here on the podcast and throughout my other lessons that I do. So actually, I'll put my Instagram down in the description as well, because I want you to see what this country is like, at least from my perspective. Even if you live here in the United States, I will share some of my experiences on my Instagram channel. Or I could actually share them here on my YouTube page. But either way, at least on Instagram, you can send me a comment or a message with my picture. So I think I'll do that. So if you're on Instagram, make sure you follow me. It's the same at jbarksdale.tv. Okay. So let's get ready for a quiz and let's see if you can answer these questions. What type of restaurant did Reggie visit? How did I describe the restaurant in today's story? Actually, I used two ways. Okay, what type restaurant did Reggie visit? Number 2, what was notable about the menu at the restaurant? Okay, can you remember that? What was notable about the menu? And question number 3, have you ever been to what we call a hole-in-the-wall restaurant? let me know down in the comments section. Well, that's going to do it for today's exercise or today's episode. Excuse me. Let me say before I get out of here, follow me on Instagram, jbarksdale.tv. Okay, I don't have that many followers, but I need to do a better job of posting. So I'll do that, and I'll give you some more things besides just lessons, and you can DM me there on Instagram. Also, be sure to check out my daily conversations. The link is in the description. It says Parlay with Jay, and I talk about random subjects throughout the week in English, and I have a conversation with you about those subjects. And if there is one that you want me to communicate or talk about, just let me know in the comment section. Well, I hope you have enjoyed today's episode of Improved English. My name is Jay. I hope you join me next week. I'll see you on Instagram, and I'll see you later in the week as I do my English lessons. You have a great day.